Ever most horrifying Olympic Games tragedies.
Sometimes, the Olympics captivate audiences not just with feats of athleticism, but with tragedies that seem impossible anywhere else. In Vancouver, Canada, a supposedly cursed track cost some athletes not only their careers, but their lives as well.
Oh, really?
In Stockholm, Sweden, a runner from Portugal literally burned up in the heat. And in Innsbruck, Austria, two Olympians tragically died before even competing.
Wait, you know when someone dies at the Olympics, do they cover it up? Because I've never heard of anyone dying at Olympics. But then again, I do live under a rock.
All these and other incidents weren't only etched into history, but also captured on camera. So, your discretion is advised. Just days before the opening of the 2010 Winter Olympics in Vancouver, Canada, a Romanian luger had a devastating crash during a practice run on the Whistler track, seriously injuring herself. Her Olympic dream ended before it even began.
That looks risky.
An American athlete crashed on the same track, but luckily she escaped with minor injuries. Even the legendary luger, Armin Jugular, took a fall on this so-called cursed track, which was extremely rare for him. Finally, for his last training run on this ominous track, Georgian luger Nodar Kumaratashvili, a third-generation athlete, stepped up. He couldn't afford to be afraid because his childhood friend, Levon Girashitsa, had just gone down before him. Plus, Nodar's entire family was watching. Confidently, he sped down the icy course. Levon watched every second, holding his breath to see if his friend could conquer the treacherous 13th turn, nicknamed 50 to 50. Nodar navigated it with only the slightest mistake. With just 3 turns left, Levon walked toward the finish line to greet his friend. That's when he heard a strange noise. Seconds earlier, Nodar entered the final turn, but suddenly lifted off the track along with his sled. He flew over the edge, and before hitting the ground, he struck his head against an exposed pillar. When Levon reached him, medics were already performing CPR.
Does not have a helmet?
However, the injuries from that crash at nearly 144 kilometers per hour proved fatal. The Georgian team walked in at the Olympic opening with black armbands, without Levon. A few years later, he left the sport for good. Perhaps it had something to do with the official explanation of Nodar's death, a tragic accident due to his own mistake. As I mentioned, several losers had already been injured on that.
Yo, I watched the Olympics this year, bro. Well, some of it. I didn't see this sport. Oh, wait. Is the Winter Olympics different to the actual Olympics? So this is just a part of the Winter Olympics. Oh, okay. I don't really watch it. Obviously, I don't watch the Olympics, but...
That same track, and official complaints had been filed as early as 2009. What's more, before the venue was even opened, a record speed of 154 kilometers per hour was clocked at the deadly 16th turn of the Whistler track.
I ain't gonna lie, this definitely would be fun and entertaining to watch, but hell no am I doing it, bro. That's so risky.
That's 18 kilometers above the maximum allowed for men's luge. Yet none of the builders or certifiers admitted any fault. Still, mistakes can happen to anyone, regardless of experience. Austrian Ignis Stiefsum was an aviation pioneer. He was one of the first to fly gliders after World War I. Stiefsum proved the existence of thermal currents over Vienna by soaring above the city in his motorless craft. His expertise earned him a place at the 1936 Berlin Olympics, where he led Austria's glider team. On August 3rd, Stiefsum was supposed to perform a demonstration flight in his single-seat glider, Ronsperber. However, before that, he decided to train. While in the air, one of the wings suddenly broke, sending Stiefsum plummeting toward the ground. He deployed his parachute, yet the 700 meters of altitude wasn't enough for it to slow him down. Despite all his skill and experience, Stiefsum lost his life in the crash. Now, even the smallest fall can be fatal. Bahman Golbarnazad was the only Iranian cyclist at the 2016 Paralympics in Rio de Janeiro. A veteran of the Iran-Iraq War, he lost his left leg after stepping on a landmine. 3 years later, Bahman turned to professional sports, winning 12 gold medals and 1 silver medal in weightlifting. However, after injuring his shoulder in 2006, he switched to cycling. Exactly 10 years later, he represented his country at the Paralympics. Given his injury, he competed in the C4 category. The road cycling course for both Paralympians and Olympians ran through mountainous terrain with steep elevation changes. On one of these sections, Bahman somehow lost control, crashed into a rock, and suffered a severe head injury. Of course, he was wearing a helmet, but it wasn't enough this time. Bachmann's heart stopped.
Wait. You know, with the cycling chat, are you allowed to like attack other cyclists? Like what they're doing there? Are you allowed to like, you know, go into them?
Of course, he was wearing a helmet, but it wasn't enough this time. Bachmann's heart stopped on the way to the hospital. Instead of receiving news of another medal, his son learned that he was now an orphan. His mother had died of cancer a few years earlier. Unfortunately, following all the rules doesn't always guarantee safety, and reckless decisions...
Yo, chat, do you know what actually does give me a bit of anxiety, though? I watched this year's Olympics where they was doing the cycling. Bro, they're going fast, yeah? Like the speed cycling. And they're literally a centimeter away from each other. I'm thinking, yo, if you just change speed a tiny bit, you're going to crash and you're all falling. Like, bro, crazy, man. Crazy stuff seeing that.
Can have catastrophic consequences. It's hard to believe the Olympics once looked like this. In the 1912 Stockholm Games, most athletes were amateurs, like marathon runner Francisco Lazaro. He worked as a carpenter at a car factory, running marathons in his spare time. After winning 3 national races, he represented Portugal in its first ever Olympic appearance. Lazaro even carried the country's flag during the opening ceremony. On July 14th, the marathon day, Stockholm was hit with an unprecedented heat wave. Out of the 95 athletes registered, only 68 started. Even though the distance was just 40 kilometers, nearly 2 less than the previous time. The distance was just 40 kilometers, nearly 2 less.
Aye, whose name is this then? Hey, whose job was it to call this place Middlesex? Whose job was it to call this place Middlesex, bro?
Than the previous time. Lazaro, wearing number 518, confidently kept up the pace, stopping only for water. However, due to the extreme heat, only 36 athletes finished, and Lazaro wasn't one of them. After completing 30 kilometers, the Portuguese runner suddenly collapsed and blacked out. When people rushed to help, they found his body was burning hot.
Oh, wow.
His temperature had soared to a critical 41 degrees Celsius. That's dangerously high for a human. Sadly, Lazaro passed away the next morning without regaining consciousness. Initially, it seemed obvious that the heat and physical strain caused his death. However, soon, a shocking discovery was made. Lazaro had covered all exposed skin with wax to avoid sunburn and possibly to increase his speed. In doing so, he disrupted his body's natural sweating process, preventing it from cooling down. This, combined with his existing heart problems, led to his tragic demise. They say Lazaro said before the race that he would either win or die trying. Many athletes approached...
Wait, they told him before the race, you're going to either win or die trying. Hey. He just wanted it that bad, I suppose.
The Olympics with this fatalistic mindset. As such, an opportunity often comes just once in a lifetime. Yet not everyone gets to seize it. Swiss skier Nicolas Beaucheté competed in the 1992 Olympics in Albertville, France, in a unique category, speed skiing. This was a demonstration event, meaning it wasn't part of the main Olympic program, but was being promoted. Speed skiing is remarkable because athletes wear special gear that resembles spacesuits. Everything designed to maximize speed, which can reach a wild 255 kilometers per hour. Beaucheté didn't go quite that fast in Albertville, but still qualified for the finals. On the morning of February 22nd, Beaucheté and his teammate, along with a few other athletes, decided to warm up on one of the public slopes. He was ahead of the group when he flew over a small hill and saw a snow grooming machine right in front of him. Beaucheté had only a second to react, and there was no way to change course.
Wait. Why is there a snow machine when they're doing the Olympics? Like, surely this person would know they're fucking on track right now. Like, why is it there?
He was ahead of the group when he flew over a small hill and saw a snow grooming machine right in front of him. Beaucheté had only a second to react.
Public course? It's the Olympics! I'm pretty... Public slope? But... Oh, it was practice? Oh, it was practice. Oh. Oh, right. Okay. But still, like, surely, like, if you're in a truck like that, surely, a vehicle, surely you should know if people's on the course. I feel like that's like a high priority, no? Public or no public.
And there was no way to change course in time. He crashed into the snow groomer at full speed. The impact was too severe for his body to endure, and he passed away almost instantly.
I think that, I ain't gonna lie, chat. I think that's an assassination attempt. They must be the best skiing team, and the other skiing team who always come second did that. Because, bro, why is a truck just coming out of nowhere on a skiing slope? Like, surely it's your job to know or check if there's people coming down the hill.
One of the 10,000 spectators at the speed skiing final knew what had happened to the 27-year-old athlete and father of two, because Beaucheté's death wasn't announced. Why this tragic accident occurred remains unclear. Some witnesses claim that the snow grooming machine was parked off to the side without any warning lights or signals. Others denied that. Additionally, it turned out that Beaucheté was skiing on slalom skis, not speed skis. Whatever the case, his death was one of the reasons speed skiing was deemed too dangerous and never made it into the main Olympic program. However, even the official disciplines can sometimes...
Oh shit! Wait, is speed skiing not a thing in the Olympics anymore then?
1960 Rome Olympics began. No one could have predicted they would be marked by such a tragedy. One of Denmark's top cyclists, Knud Enemark Jensen, was competing in the team time trial, a 100-kilometer road race, on just the second day of...
Wait. You're telling me these guys are full tryharding, and this guy's opening looked like a can of soup? Look, what, is he like the best skate cyclist on the planet? Why is he so calm and chill?
Was competing in the...
What is he? He's having a beer. Is he just like the best person ever?
Team time trial, a 100-kilometer road race on just the second day of the games. Unfortunately, it was nearly 40 degrees that day. Jensen wasn't feeling well from the start, but refused to withdraw from the race. After the first lap, one of his teammates dropped out due to heat stroke, leaving the remaining 3 members to finish at all costs, or their team would be disqualified. Jensen's condition worsened, and he eventually shouted to his teammates that he was feeling dizzy. They grabbed him by his jersey to support him as they rode and splashed water on him. It seemed like Jensen was recovering, but as soon as
you know what's the best clip I've ever seen from the Olympics, chat? Do you know what? I've seen a few clips from the Olympics. My favorite clip is it was a running race, yeah? And a brother was in first place about to win, but then he seen his brother that was in second place fall behind or something. So he ran back to like grab him and someone else overtook him. He's a complete dick, but whatever, right? You got a fake win. Fuck you, dude. Right? He ran back to his brother, grabbed his brother's arm and like jogged so he got over the finish line. Bro, that is the best clip I've seen in the Olympics, bro. The fact he was so close to just winning. The fact he ran back to grab his brother so that he could pass the finish line because he was struggling. Bro, that clip was insane.
They let go, he collapsed, hitting his head on the concrete. His teammates rushed to help. Though Jensen remained unconscious, realizing the gravity of the situation, they called for an ambulance. Jensen was quickly taken to a military tent near the finish line, but what happened next is still puzzling. Despite his dangerously high body temperature, no one attempted to cool him down. To make matters worse, the temperature inside the tent had soared to 50 degrees. After spending 2 hours there without regaining consciousness, Knud Enemark Jensen passed away. Still, the story doesn't end there. The Danish team's coach told investigators that he had given Jensen and the other cyclist a vasodilator as a stimulant. However, the official report stated that no traces of drugs were found in Jensen's body. Moreover, this document was only shown to his family and was never made public. This led to rumors that Jensen had actually taken much more dangerous substances, which may have caused his sudden death. While these claims were never officially confirmed, Jensen's death prompted the International Olympic Committee to introduce drug testing. Sometimes, though, it's the organizers themselves who try to convince us that the human body simply can't handle the Olympic challenge. In 1964, in Innsbruck, Austria, the first ever luge competition in Olympic history was about to take place. A week before the official opening, Polish athlete Kazimierz Kai Skrzypski, competing under the British flag, had arrived to fine-tune his skills. As a former Royal Air Force pilot, he was still in excellent physical shape. He had also made friends with nearly everyone in the Olympic Village, earning the nickname Uncle for being the oldest participant at the Games at 55. Wow. Yet that didn't stop him from competing on equal footing with younger losers. Unfortunately, the track left much to be desired. Some parts were waterlogged, and journalists remarked that athletes seemed to flip over more often than they finished. Despite this, nothing deterred Kazimierz, and he headed out for practice.
Ain't bothered. No kid.
At one point, though, his sled began to shake and swerve before flying off the track. Kazimierz crashed into the ground at high speed. He may have even heard the sound of his bones breaking. In the hospital, he was found to have suffered severe skull and pelvic injuries, yet he was still fighting for his life. The next morning, surgeons began an emergency operation, but Kazimierz's heart couldn't take it, and he passed away. The Olympic Village declared a period of mourning while the athletes demanded to know why this tragedy had happened. Was it safe for other losers to take the track? In the end, the organizers chose not to make any statements. Instead,
yo, the speed they're going down like that is crazy, bro. That is actually crazy.
Rumors spread that Kazimierz's age was the reason for the accident. They said he was just too old for such competitions. 19-year-old Australian skier Ross Milne, who was also at that Olympics, might have believed this version, but he was focused on other things. First, he had to overcome the anxiety caused by another athlete's death. Second, he needed to proudly represent his homeland in the competitions. In 1964, the Olympic organizers were seriously considering banning Australians and New Zealanders from winter sports competitions.
Why?
The argument was that they had nowhere to train and, compared to Europeans living in snowy mountains, were too weak. However...
Wait, yeah, you can't just ban them for being bad. Why would you ban them? Why would you ban them? Would you ban them because they can't train in their own countries? Well, they could just figure it out.
Australia's tiny delegation was determined to prove otherwise, and Milne was their best skier. Ironically, that year, Innsbruck had an unprecedented lack of snow. Military personnel had to haul it over from Austria to create the tracks. That wasn't the only problem. The downhill skiing track had no protective barriers for the athletes. At many points, skiers came dangerously close to the edge of the forest, patches of bare ground, or piles of sharp branches. Only a few tree trunks had sandbags attached to them, but at speeds of 60 to 70 kilometers per hour, those were hardly softer than the trees themselves. Even local journalists warned of the dangers the track posed. Nevertheless, on the morning of January 25th, the skiers prepared for their first official practice run. Milne started and covered over 300 meters when he reached one of the steepest sections, which could only be seen right before entering. And just at that moment, Milne saw people on the track ahead of him. He quickly veered to the side to avoid them, but he couldn't regain control. Milne crashed straight into a tree and immediately blacked out. He was airlifted to the hospital, where the doctors could only confirm his death. That was the second fatality at the Innsbruck Olympics.
Bro, why is he so high? Why is he... Yo, what is he doing up there? What is he doing up there? Jesus, man.
Was the second fatality at the Innsbruck Olympics,
He's flying.
Which hadn't even officially started yet. As with Skrzypski's case, the official investigation found no fault with the organizers in Milne's death. Supposedly, he lost his life due to a lack of experience and skill since he was from Australia. Ultimately, one of the most tragic Olympic opening ceremonies began with lowered flags and a moment of silence, while doubts about the organizers' competence lingered in the air. Only Milne's younger brother was more determined than ever to prove that Australians could win in winter sports. And in Innsbruck, he finally did. Since 1900, around 80 fatal accidents have been linked to the Olympics. In comparison, in just 2.5 years of full-scale war in Ukraine, Russia has killed nearly 500 Ukrainian athletes. If only both sports and life were safer.
Wait, why is he just threw that stat in? What has that got to do with the Olympics? That's a whole ass war, bro. That's a whole different topic.
Take care and learn more about historical disasters on this channel.
That's a whole different, that's a whole ass war, bro.